Your Honor, I did not assault any porn stars that might be conceiving my child. Man, that's not even a joke. Zion, what are you doing, dude? Oh, man. It's a shame. Such a talent. Right, coach?
You
Yeah.
don't come much more talented than Zion.
Yeah, throwing away your career. Man. Anyway, afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now, just know that you are locked in until the point with the king. You guys, find us. If you don't want to see these beautiful faces, Apple, Amazon, Spotify, if you just want to listen to us, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, which is hopefully where you're watching us. And if so, can you hook a couple brothers up and maybe click subscribe? And if you enjoy our content, click that bell so you can keep coming back for more. And loving our fantastic guests. Now, our guest today, we're completing the trilogy. Right now, we're on part 2 of the latest Raptors acquisitions, and it is the one and only from the East Coast, the coach, Tim Roache. How are you doing today, brother?
Doing good. Enjoying the summer. Been watching a lot of summer league ball as well, which is it's been good to see some of the young talent that's coming into the NBA. Ton of young talent now. That's really, really good.
Really? Nick Nurse's doppelganger? Are you scouting them for Philly? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
He better be.
I'm kidding. But we wanted to go through this. We wanted to go through the Raptors acquisitions individually. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be covering Dennis Schröder and Coach. Um, this is the reason why you're here, my man. It's not just because I love you, bro, but also because of your knowledge. Now, can you explain to Raptors Nation who Dennis Schröder is?
Well, he's going into his 10th year in the NBA. He's a point guard out of Germany, 6'1", about 175 pounds.
Sorry to cut you off, but Germany, shout out Sean McCaw. But go on, please.
Absolutely. A lot of good basketball in Germany. Um, Yeah, so Dennis Schröder, he's been a point guard in the NBA for about 10 years. Played backup point guard. He started. He's played with Atlanta, played with OKC, won a title with your guy there in LA. But that's another conversation for another time. But no, he won a title with the Lakers in the 2020-2021 season in the bubble. Schroeder was very impactful during that season. I mean, he averaged 32 minutes a game. That's big time. And then last year, Schroeder, with the Lakers again, had 30 minutes a game as well. And if anyone who watched the playoffs probably saw that he was LeBron's second best guard next to Austin Reeves. Like it wasn't D'Angelo Russell, it was definitely Schroeder. So Schroeder, he's an experienced vet in the NBA going in his 10th year. Um, do you recall when we had our last time we had a 10-year vet as a point guard, or at least a backup point guard in the Raptors system?
Kyle Lowry?
As a backup, though?
No, not even.
No, it's been a while. I'm saying that because we've needed one for quite a while. So yeah, no. After we lost Fred, we had to pivot and go to probably the next best option, and I guess they thought it was Dennis Schroeder. I'm a fine with this acquisition. I think he's making about 13 million a year, that's pretty standard for a good NBA backup point guard, someone who possibly can start as well. So thought it was a decent free agent signing.
Well, he did say recently that, as of this recording, that he is looking forward to being the starting point guard for the Toronto Raptors. Now, for him to be on the Toronto Raptors, yes, he does offer that championship pedigree, which is what the Raptors are lacking on the squad, right? Other than like the few that have been there for the 2019 championship. You guys know who they are. Raptors Nation, you guys are already aware. Um, but him coming across, I think, and him having that background from the Euro League, right, to understand that style and then to understand the NBA style, I think that's a pretty decent asset to have within the Raptors organization, right? But coach, you know what, man? Why did the Raptors pick him up? Can we break this down? Why did they specifically target him? Was it just because he was on the market and Fred was going? Or was it something that they saw within him to help lead this team?
So I see two reasons why. The first one does have to
Yeah.
do with Fred. Because if you bring back Fred, you can't bring in Dennis Schröder. You don't have enough money for him. And the rumored deal was they want to offer Fred 4 years, 120. That would have given him 30 million. You wouldn't have been able to get him that way. Um, Second reason why I think is his relationship with Darko. Now, Darko has said that he knows Dennis quite well. This makes sense because Darko was in OKC when Dennis Schröder literally had probably the two best years, arguably, of his career, especially the year in 2019-2020. I think he was a finalist for Sixth Man of the Year. He averaged 19 points, shot about 38-39% from three-point line, 30 minutes a game, 4 assists. He was backing up Chris Paul that year. And if anybody remembers in the bubble, OKC was like they were close to taking down Houston that year, and Schröder was on that team. So him and Darko certainly have a connection. I know in some of the videos that they've posted, one of the reasons Schröder came here was because of Darko and potentially the opportunity that he may have. So I view Dennis more as a backup, but could he start? Yeah, maybe he could start, depending on how Darko and his staff wants to utilize him.
I think the reasoning for the Raptors was to pick him up. Yes, I agree with the Darko relationship. Yes, yes, you can get more out of him. We spoke on the last one that now that I've touched on this on the last one, that they don't won't have to spend so much time developing him, and they could spend more time on the younger talent, the newer talent, due to the relationship. Correct. Yes, I agree with that. But I also agree that it was kind of slim picking for a point guard out there right now. But however, Schröder, yes, he does have one of these. Let's let's get into, I wanted to ask you now, you and I as former coaches, I want to ask you, how does he fit into the Raptors organization? Because I strongly believe after him coming out and saying that he's looking forward to being the starting point guard for the Raptors, I want to know how he can fit in with his playing ability. Like, let's just face it, with his size, he kind of fits into Vision 6'9". He does not take a lot of shots, right? He does not take a lot of three-pointers. Don't let the box score fool you, ladies and gentlemen, with his percentage. But he is very, very well with the assists at 4.7 over his career. So, coach, how can he fit into this Raptors team now?
Well, I see once again two reasons. One of them is Darko. He probably has an understanding what Darko wants to run, just from Darko being in OKC. So I'm sure there's some kind of familiarity or some kind of idea of, okay, this is what Darko wants to do. Schröder's been in the league long enough to know, okay, well, I can adapt to this kind of offense. The second reason why I think he is here is just to be that veteran guy who can set up an offense.
Thank you. Thank you.
I know. It's like, it's
Thank
no offense to the other guys before, but between Flynn and Banton and, Fred's never had a backup point guard as long as he's been point guard here, more or less. I remember the trade deadline last year, we had acquired Pirtle. I remember I was on a Twitter space and stuff like that. I'm like, go and get a backup point guard. You're going to run Fred and Siakam into the ground.
Yep.
Did they? No. And they didn't even play Banton again, and Banton did fairly well before he got hurt. So I was just really pleased that we have potentially one of the top backup point guards in the game right now today on our team. So I think how he could fit into this team, getting guys open, running an offense, his communication skills, because he's a vet, he'll be able to talk to the young guys and stuff like that. I'm sure he's going to garner a fair amount of respect too because of what he's done in the NBA as well from those young guys. So I can see Schröder coming in from a leadership position as well, because a lot of the point guards in the NBA, like you have to have some kind of leadership element, because that's one of the
Yes.
biggest positions to play in the NBA. You think of some of the great leaders like Chris Paul and Steve Nash, Steph Curry and stuff like. I'm not so much trying to say Schroeder's just like them, but when you play that role, you have to have some kind of leadership
Yes.
skills on
Yes.
the court.
Yes.
So, and like you said before with Schroeder in the offense, he doesn't shoot the ball very well, but at least he's shown in the past that he can shoot it.
He
Let's
doesn't
just
shoot
see
it
him.
often, is what I was trying to say.
Yeah, but I have a feeling though, if he is surrounded by shooters, maybe we'll get into this later, who he
Yes,
might be
we are.
surrounded by, um, you know, that will be beneficial because of his experience thus far.
I see you just alluded to that, which is what I was thinking when we were talking about coming up with this episode about Shooter. It led me to thinking, okay, now that Freddie's gone, yes, there has been qualms, and I've seen a lot of people out there online about Freddie holding on to the ball too long, doing that LeBron thing, holding on to the ball, doing the Dame thing, Steph thing, shooting from the logo, not really orchestrating the offense. Meanwhile, I've been saying for so long on this goddamn show that the Raptors have so much potential with their younger players, but they're not unlocked because they've been inhibited and prohibited from doing what they can do. And now that Schröder is not a heavy shot taker, not a player that's going to hold the ball for 14 out of the 24 seconds of the shot clock, right? And when you have all these players, Pascal, Scotty, OG, Chris Boucher, Gary Trent, Jakob, you got all these guys that can do something and cause some damage depending on what team they're playing. Maybe he can help orchestrate the offense. And coach, let's break down the X's and O's, brother. How can he do that?
Um, so in terms of how he can do that, he's very good in the pick and roll. So
Yep.
Precious and Coloco could be quite beneficial to playing pick and roll with him,
And
rolling
Pirtle.
to the basket. And Pirtle, yep, some of our bigs certainly will be beneficial to that. Like we saw him throw alley oops to Anthony Davis all year in the pick and roll. There's not that I expect our guys to be that great as a roller as he is, but it shouldn't be too much of a drop off. I don't think. Like I think
Yeah,
they'll
the
be just
option is
fine with the
there.
pick and roll, right? And once again, I'm a big proponent of complementary skill sets. What does Schröder not do well? Shoot the ball. But if you put shooters around him, then it's going to make his game look better and their games look better, because if Schröder has Grady, or he's got Trent, or he's got Otto Porter, which we sometimes forget about, or he's got
He's
OG,
never healthy.
whoever. Yeah, that's true. But we have some of those shooters on the floor with him as well. It's certainly not going to hurt. And one thing that Schröder is as well, he's a really pesky defender.
Hmm.
He's probably going to be their best point of attack guard defender, not their overall best, that's OG, but their best point of attack guard defender. He really plays his one-on-one coverages are pretty good for sure. So I just think he'll have a decent two-way game to him.
So you're saying to me that his pick and roll is where he would do best with the offense, orchestrating the offense and leading the offense.
Structure.
Ah,
How chaotic did it look last year?
oh my goodness, it looked. You know what? Look, I'll say it, ladies and gentlemen. As a former coach, the last couple of years, I've been frustrated with the Raptors because there's been way too much ISO ball. And for you guys that don't understand, that's isolation ball where one player just has it and does what they want to do. I've been frustrated with that because I have not seen a lot of ball movement. And look, I will tell you this much: I do not like Schröder off the court. I'm not a fan of his, but however, what he can provide for the Toronto Raptors, I think can be very, very beneficial to the young talent that is there. Do you agree, Coach?
Absolutely. I love having point guards, unless they're super talented. Don't get me wrong, but I like having point guards who know how to play. I like having point guards who've been in the league a little while. It's hard when you had someone like Fred, and I'm not saying that Schroeder's Fred, because Fred is quite a bit better than Schroeder, but Fred didn't really. He had some inexperienced guys behind him, and Nurse couldn't play them, right? And that was both like Nurse wasn't playing his bench anyway, but we saw them enough on the court where we were like, it's a little shaky. With Schroeder, he'll give you 25 to 30 minutes a night. And if Scotty is the starting point guard of this team, you're going to need insurance like Schroeder in case that it doesn't work out as well as what they
State
might
Farm
want
is
it to.
there. Go on.
Right. But it's a good signing, Dennis Schröder.
Okay, Coach. Before we get out of here, can we grade this acquisition? Come on, Coach. Give it to me.
I'll give it a B.
You'll give it a B. Interesting. Why? Why would you go to A? You were just bigging him up.
I'll give it a B. It's like there are a lot of good things about the signing. Schroeder's inability to shoot, which is something that we need, because you're going to have two point guards with Scotty and Schroeder who would shoot under 33% from the 3-point line. It might be a little clunky at times, but Schroeder, he's a vet. There will be structure in the offense. Decent passer, pesky defender, and also we have to remember too what was left on the free agent market. Gabe Vincent was gone. I think he was one of their guys they were looking at, but I think all things considered, what was left, it's a good signing.
I will give it a B and a D. Because there's the B. We don't know what Darko, there's the D, is going to do and how he's going to run this offense. We will have to wait and see, ladies and gentlemen. Now, before we get out of here, Coach, I love having you on. So the floor is yours to say anything to anybody out there for the To The Point family.
I think having Schroeder on this team will certainly help. I think this team is in a retool process right now with Fred gone, and you got nothing for him. Schroeder was the next best available guard probably on the market. Like, it's decent insurance policy. I am excited to see the bench this year because I think more of our success is going to have to come from the bench. We saw how taxing it was on our starters. last year.
Preach.
So Siakam led the league in minutes. Fred was in the top 5. Scotty was up there. There were times that OG and Trent were up there. That's too much on any team. But with these recent signings of McDaniels, Schröder, drafting of Grady, I think they've done a fairly good job so far. They got some Grady. No, but I'm excited to see the bench. I don't think they're going to tax Siakam as much this year. I hope they don't. And just the way the NBA is going, there's a lot of talent now in the NBA, good talent. And what we saw in the playoffs too, especially from Denver, is the importance of a bench. Like teams are going now 8, 9, 10 deep. The way that I look at the Raptors now, as currently constructed, I have my own opinions of who I want to see more, but you probably could go 11 deep right now.
I agree with you 100%. I got into an argument with my best friend last night about this, about the Raptors bench, but that's another story for another day. Yeah, Bob, fuck you. Coach, thank you. Before we get out of here, thank you for coming on and being a part of the To The Point family. It's always appreciative. I love shooting the shit with you, man. We love all of you guys out there, the To The Point family. If you're watching, I consider you that. Shout out to Scotia. Yeah, not the Bank Arena, but the province. Okay, shout out to you guys too. Shout out to Germany, all my peoples out there. Shout out to everybody out there that's watching us. You know, we got nothing but love for you. You guys, like I said, find us Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, right here. So, Coach, I guess I got to say it. On behalf of myself and the coach, all the way from the East Coast, Tim Roache, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, and